Welcome to Deep Thought. Beauty is cultural. And you know what? It's interesting, right? Because as people know, I have a ladies channel, and I actually do a lot of coaching with women. More private. Of course, the main thing is the men, but I get women who've hit me up or I've had conversations with over the years, about different things. And one of the biggest issue I have seen is just the whole beauty thing. I mean, we have, especially with black women, and one of the biggest issues, and I'm putting this on the deep thought thing because it really is, I could have did this on my main channel or even the ladies channel, right? But it's really a mental thing. And that's the idea of beauty and the beauty standard, right? Because right now in the world, the blonde-haired, blue-eyed woman is used as the standard, even though there are efforts to get away from that. It still might be a while. Usually the only people who don't use that standard are people who've had limited contact with Western society. Like in Africa, maybe, South Pacific, South America, any place where you still have indigenous groups, usually their beauty standard isn't affected by it. But any place that has media and, media, stuff like that, it's still that European standard. I mean, in the black community, it's still that big deal about, people talking weaves and everything, but it's that hair thing. It's like, it's not that wavy hair and, that typically European type of hair that women have, or skin color. Skin bleaching is still major. In 2018, there's still a lot of places where bleaching the skin is still being done. Right? And then you have a lot of black women who are speaking out against colorism and featureism. I mean, the skin color thing is one thing, but then when you get women feeling like that they're being shunned, black women being shunned because their noses are broader and everything, that's crazy. Because, and it's interesting. When I say the beauty is cultural thing, really, because if you look at the European standard, I mean, yeah, it's promoted. It's promoted by those who control the media, right? And, sometimes people try to have some study or something, because I've even had more than a few black women, in fact, ironically, because it's not the white women. A lot of white women don't say it. Half of them don't even believe it. Because half of them don't reach that, blonde hair, blue-eyed status themselves. And I've told this story before. I remember when I was working in this gym, and I was working as a sales manager, and I signed up this office. Now, it was quite a few people in the office, and they would all come together, but there was this one woman who signed up with them, and they probably just like, oh, yeah, come on. Right, and she was like legitimately blonde and blue-eyed. She legitimately looked like a Barbie, and I peeped that the other white women in her office didn't like her because they were, they had more meat on them. They were brunettes and stuff, which is really quite normal. And this woman, she was real friendly though. She was extremely friendly. One of the best people I ever met. Literally just genuinely nice. But the other women didn't like her, and I think it was just because of her looks, right? But even that's still a cultural thing, because the thing when I say it's cultural, people try to act like that standard of beauty is universal, and it's not. I remember there was a study done that tried to say, oh yeah, this is the best look and everything, where they supposedly interviewed a whole bunch of people, but then none of those people were African or African descended. It was all like Europeans and Asians. Which I know some black women might not feel that Asians go through it. They go through it too, like that double eyelid surgery to make their eyes look more Western. That's still a big thing. In fact, I knew this Korean young lady. She used to wear blue contacts. But real beauty and what's happening when I say it's cultural, what's just happened, like a certain culture is promoted. That's promoted because if you really look at beauty, you got to understand beauty in terms of something just being this optimal thing. A rose is beautiful, but so is an orchid. So is a dandelion. They're beautiful if they're in their best form. Every flower is beautiful. Every person, if they're in their best form, they're beautiful. Because and it's easy for you to see. So yes, the blonde-haired, blue-eyed woman, with a thin nose and slim body is beautiful. But then so is maybe the thicker, more curvy chocolate black woman who's wearing her natural hair. If it's her best form, if it's an optimal form. Because, if we look at forms, first of all, a slim form isn't the only form. I mean, science will tell you this. Anybody will tell you this. You have three body types for human beings. You have an ectomorph, which is more slim. You have the mesomorph, which is, the more athletic, and then the endomorph, which is more thick, And you can see them all as beautiful. Like if you look at some superhero movies, or two actresses that are in them, Scarlett Johansson and Jennifer Lawrence. If you really look at them, they both endomorphic. Yeah, they probably work out, but if you look at like their body composition and their general curves, or their general, they're not like thin, they're more endomorphic, but they can still be as beautiful as some of the actresses who aren't, and that's just in the white community, But the thing is, we tend to there's a thing of promoting that. Like you have the movies and everything promoting that look. And unfortunately, too many black women get caught up into that. Too many black women, they'll think, oh, well, I need to cut my nose or something, to look more attractive. Like I had a friend from years ago, and she had a very broad nose, but always very beautiful to me. And I remember I saw some picture, and I don't know if it was some type of Photoshop or something. It looked like she had a nose job. I was about to cry. I was like, what the hell? I was about to say something. What the hell you do? But then I saw a more recent picture. I was like, oh, good God, man. Because really, you have a cultural beauty, a cultural chauvinism with beauty. But if you can get past that, and see every person is beautiful, and that in the whole, somebody, let's just be real. Everybody has something, but, in terms of being seen as beautiful, probably not. But if every culture, every group really has somebody that's beautiful, and that's mainly based on DNA, bloodline, everything. But it's not a universal standard. There's no universal thing. I know some people talk about a golden ratio, but honestly, I've seen some people with very symmetrical features who I wouldn't call beautiful. And we probably all have. Because there's so much that go into it, DNA. That's why if people left to their natural thing, people gonna be seen as beautiful. Like one thing and I've told this to black women going back to the 80s. If they just focus on being their best self, they'll be beautiful. Because if they'll say, it's a complexion thing, that's beauty right there. I remember I was talking with my cousin the other week, and we were talking about our grandmother. And grandmother, she had the most beautiful complexion I've ever seen. Just like my cousin had to tell me, and I took it for granted because, you look at it every day, you don't think about it. But I just know, like when she was in her 60s, she could easily went for her 30s, easily. In fact, we used to have a lot of young guys be trying to get at her. I was like, grandma wasn't playing that though. She's old school. But yeah, she never failed to attract male attention, even in her 60s and even in her 60s. Yeah, when she stopped moving around as much in her 70s, no, she put on a little bit of weight. But she always had a smooth ass complexion. Even when she died, like never no splotches or anything. But that's beauty right there, right? That's perfect beauty, right? You know, but it's different. It's not that blonde hair, blue eye thing, but it's beauty. Like beauty really is, a cultural thing. But and if people, you have to learn to appreciate it, or don't allow somebody to impose a standard of beauty. I think that's the way I should put it. Like, we've had a standard, you get like these magazines and stuff, they'll say this person's beautiful, this person is beautiful. I'm like, I don't care what that magazine say. I really don't care. And I think it's healthy is when people realize, no, there's not a universal standard, right? Because then a person can focus on the beauty that they already have within them and realize, no, they are not the rose, but they're the orchid. And you know what? They might be the dandelion, but that's beautiful as well. Or the tulip, that's beautiful as well. So anyway, yeah, that's all I have for today. Something to think about. Peace and blessings.